Right, I have got a switchgear, correct switchgear for the left hand side. The one that was on there was totally incorrect. The only problem is it's a little bit faded, as you can see, compared to this one, and even that has started to lose its colour. See, it's got a bit more colour on the bottom. Yeah, could paint that. Then I'd have to repaint this or paint this as well. Yeah, so I've really got three choices. I've either got to paint them both, or I could polish them both down to base metal, or I could just leave them as they are. You know, this is sympathetic restoration, so we say, so I don't think it will, well, it's obviously noticeable one between the other, but I don't think it will look too bad. If it does start to annoy me after a little while, yeah, I think I could always strip them off again and paint them up or polish them down, but I think for now just going to get it working, check the connections are okay. Only the other thing I've got to do is put some heat shrinker with it. This just goes brittle, it's all just cracking up, so I'll strip all that off, put some new heat shrink over the whole lot, and just check these switch connections are all okay. I'm obviously going to need a new clutch lever, but yeah, I think first of all I'll just check the connections are working. Yeah, and go from there. Right, little test. Got my multimeter here, it's just set up on the diode or continuity check, and I've just got a couple of crocodile clips fitted to the ends of my leads here, so when they contact, whether you can hear that, get a buzzing. Right, so in theory, got a wiring diagram here. Green should be horn, which I believe when you press the horn it should ground out. So I click that on there, press the horn, should get a buzz. Look, nothing. So that needs looking at. And indicators, grey is the one that comes from the relay, or would go to the relay, and these are the left and right wires. So when you flick the switch here, you should get continuity one way or the other. Let's try the left. I'm not sure which is left and which is right actually. Oh no, blue is right, isn't it? So nothing. Getting nothing on there, so that needs to be looked at. And again, orange should be left. Nothing. Right, so we need to strip this down anyway and have a look, which is what we'll do now. Let's get all that out of the way. First thing I'll do is get this old dodgy looking nut off the back here. That will come off. that is. It doesn't seem to want to shift. Right, give that a little bit of a soak and come back to that. And hopefully these will come undone. That one's loose anyway. If bent. So I'm probably going to need a couple of new screws. Oh, that one's loose. Mop some of this stuff up. What have we got in here? Right, well, that is the horn there. Let's see if that will come undone. It's quite corroded in here. That is quite tight. Might have to give that a soak. Get hooked up with the camera. Just out the way. Right, this one just clamps down the cable. They're all quite tight. Yeah, I'm not going to push that too hard. Yeah. Might be able to get this off. Well, that one's come undone anyway. Lift up. Let's see what I'm doing there. Come out, yeah. I think this little block should lift out. It would do if it's in the right place. Yeah, this is definitely in the way. I wonder if the impact driver. Got two chances. Might have to get this in the jaws of the vice, I think. Right, that's loosened off now. This whole block should lift out here, I think. Yeah. Do the clean up. There's a little spring here. Little spring. little plate. I wonder if that has just come off of there. It might be what all it is. I'm pretty sure this should come out. Looks like there's a ball in there. There we go. Another spring. Ball. And a tiny spring in there, in that block, which is just the detent for that. Right, let's get rid of that. I wonder if what happened, this has just come out of, that seemed to be loose here, so I wonder if that's just come out of there, or it's got too worn or something. So is that supposed to make contact between two? I reckon that is, isn't it? As that moves, I think that has got too far in. I'll have a look at the other, the old one, and see if this is the same component, because I know the other one works. Now, unfortunately, the other indicator switch I've got is slightly different to this one, so I'm going to have to try and repair this. But I'm now wondering whether that little spring, which was laying loose, should actually be behind here. And that was just laying in the bottom here. So I think I'm going to have to look at the parts book, see if I can work out what is supposed to be where, and yeah, come back to it. Yeah, the horn, yeah, that's what's wrong with that. That's just loose, that completely loose. Looks like somebody's had a go at repairing it already. So yeah, I'll leave that to soak and hopefully get the impact driver on that and be able to shift that as well. Yeah, I've now loosened that off with the impact driver. Let's see what's under here. Oh, they're dropping bits everywhere. Screw, plate, contact. Yeah, that looks like that has come dislodged. There's a little fibre plate is kind of a bit worn there. So whether that is going to be fixable. And then you got the button here. It's got a spring and a little contact there. Right. Leave that in there. Yeah, see, that works by, so I'm not supposed to fix, that's, yeah, I see, there's a little slot in here. You probably can't see it, but there's a little slot there, which is what that is supposed to fit into, but it looks like that had come dislodged. So yeah, might have to rob one of those off something else. But yeah, Wire and loom is free now anyway, so we can have good clean up in here, sort out what's what, and hopefully get it all working. Yeah, unfortunately the parts list didn't really show any detail on this, but I think if I can get this to focus, you can see in the middle of that, got this on macro so it takes a while to get into focus, but you can see there's a little dimple in the middle of that plastic piece there, which I think probably holds that little little spring that was loose. Get that to go on there, drop on it. Bit fiddly. Yeah, so I think that spring sits on that little dimple, and this little brass plate goes over the top of that, and that's what gives it the pressure for the contact. It's a little bit difficult to show on camera, but yeah, I think basically that, let's get it on these. Yeah, that little brass piece sits over the top of there, and obviously the pressure of the against the pressure of this will hold it in place. Yeah, and the other spring and ball just goes in the little hole on that side. You can see that. Right, so I'll get this back together. I won't try and do it on camera because it's going to be a bit fiddly and springs will be pinging everywhere, so I'll get it all back in and show you when it's done. I'll just give that a little bit of a clean out in there as well. Right, let's get this camera out of the way. Right, hopefully you can see that is in there now. The ball is in place at that end, and the little spring and that little sort of U-shaped brass piece is in place there. And yeah, that was tricky. What I actually had to do was use this Stanley blade to get all that in, put some pressure on with the blade, hold it back, and then at the same time slide the little contact plate in with the wires on. So yeah, that was very tricky to do. There's no way I'd be able to do that on camera. Yeah, but that's in there anyway. Sorry about the focus, but I've got this on macro, so unless you've got it right close in, it doesn't want to focus up. But yeah, so that's in. I'll get the top, this piece, get that piece on, and hopefully that'll hold everything in place. And yeah, that side will be fixed anyway. Then have a look at the horn. Right, I'm on the grey and orange, which should be left. That's his upside down, don't forget. So that's okay, you can hear that buzzing, hopefully. And the grey and blue should be right. Yeah, so that's that fixed. I've just sprayed a little white lithium grease in there just to lubricate that a bit. Yeah, I think what happens is this plate here wears or bends, and this plastic block allows the sort of lifts a bit and allows the spring to ping out the little connector that was all loose in there. So hopefully I've kind of bent that back down a bit so there's a bit more pressure on that block. Hopefully that will fix that. Okay, so now onto the horn. Alright, just robbed the little horn contact. Come into focus. Not focusing very well, this camera. I don't think it liked the cold. I think that's the trouble. But like me, don't like the cold. Yeah, so just robbed it off that one. So hopefully, you see that's a better shape than that one was. That's all nibbled off the corner there. That one. Yeah, so this is much better condition. So I'll now get this back in, and it's got to go in there. Get that back in there, and yeah, put it all back together. Right. One is fixed. Got to get this all back in a loom, bit of heat shrink. Then I can thread it in the bars, which is a challenge in itself. Right, so I've got some heat shrink on there. So all I've got to do now is get this inside. Get this inside here. I've already done this end, and if you're doing these, you want to do this end first because it's the most difficult to get in. You need as much space here on this exit hole as you can possibly get. So this is the thicker one of the two, so do that one first. What I will do, a bit of wire around here somewhere, is first of all just thread a single piece of wire through. Which even that is easier said than done. Right, get that through there. Just fish that out. Like that. Now wrap that with those, get a bit of tape round. Need to get some more tape, actually I'm running out. I'll try and get these ends in as tight as possible so they don't snag. That's more to guide rather than to pull, because it could just pull this straight out, this piece here. Try and smooth down anything that's likely to snag, and the other thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of this is silicone spray just to lubricate. Could just as easily use WD-40, thin oil, anything really. And this one is actually much easier than the other end. This thick one is really difficult to get in. So I'm not really putting a great deal of pressure on this end. It's more just to guide it. I'm pushing this end and just using this end to guide. See, it's got a little bit stuck there. Right, so that is through. All I need to do now is just fix this here. There's a little hole there as that pin goes in, so I'll just get this orientated correctly, and then yeah, get this on the bike. Handlebars fitted. If you're wondering why I've got this on here, it's because I banged my head. I've not got a lot of hair, so I don't get any warning. So yeah, just to stop me banging my head on the end of the bars. Right, so yeah, those switch wires come down here into the headlight bucket. So I've got all the connections in here to do, which are fairly straightforward because they're all obviously colour coded. I have got aftermarket indicators fitted on the front because one of the old ones, which is this one here, screw shed there when I was undoing it, so I've actually put two new ones on the front, even though this other one is perfectly okay. But I might actually use it on the back because I think that's slightly better than one of these. Would have been better to keep the originals, but I don't know, I suppose I could try and drill that out, because these are, the outside of these are slightly better than the ones that were on the rear. So yeah, might have a go at that. The other thing is, instruments have got to go on, and because I've got the, although this is a K4, I've actually got the K3 forks in here. So the top yoke is a little bit different. You do actually need this bracket here, which is, I can get the number shown. That's the part number. So it's just to mount the speedo and tacho on, which you wouldn't need on the K4. Yeah, so I think I'll just get on, wire this up like it is. Like I say, it is fairly straightforward. Get the instruments on, and I've still got the rear light bracket needs a coat of paint, so it's reasonably warm today, so I think I might actually spray that. Might actually do that next, and that can be curing over the next few days. And then once the rear end is all in, yeah, give the old electrics a test and see what is and isn't working. Yeah, I don't know what condition this with this relay is any good or not, but couldn't get a rubber for it. Don't seem to be able to get those anymore, but yeah, I'll just replace that with a modern one if that's had it, and that will obviously come with a rubber, so it'll probably be better anyway. Yeah, so, and levers will be the next thing to sort out. I did repair this lever, but yeah, not quite right, doesn't fit right. And I've also got a new brake switch to go in there. Seems a bit crazy really. They've got all the effort of putting all the switchgear wiring down the handlebars, but not the brake. So you've still got an external wire coming down here anyway, but yeah. Right, so I will get on with the wiring. Got the headlight temporarily connected, indicators are fitted. I've not got the instruments on, but I've got the warning lights connected, horns connected, coils. Just got this rather large battery resting on the top there. Rear indicators, everything's all connected in there. Rear light. So I'll just give it a little switch on and see what is or isn't working. Right, switch. Okay, right, what do we, well, neutral light, I think that must be. Headlight. Yep. Tail light. Not very bright, but it's there. Rear brake light. Switch. I could just about pull. Yep, that's working. I haven't got a front brake light switch connected as yet. I think that's what this wire here is. What else? Oh, main beam, and that's the main beam indicator. That's working. Switch those off. Horn. Where are we? Here somewhere. Yep, that's working. Starter button. That's working. What else? Oh, indicators. Indicators. Nothing. Nothing. Other side. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing on there either. Right, so I'm going to guess that, switch it off, this flasher relay is no good. So it looks like I'm going to have to get a new one of them. Unless I can find one knocking around that will do the job. I'm not sure if I've got one or not. Yeah, so electrics, all apart from the indicators and the front brake switch, which I haven't tested. Yeah, should all be good.